Here at the scene of the crime spree, right behind me.
Hey, stranger.
Vice Mayor Strange, you'll address her properly.
You can kiss my foot.
Mr. Rickard, you're out of order.
FBI, we are asking you to investigate this council. Please look into this council, how they award contracts, the bid process, how they use their positions to benefit their friends and themselves, how they use their positions to attack residents and critics and neighbors and business competition. FBI, will you please look into this?
And I welcome the FBI here. If you notice, Mr. Thompson with his plea for the FBI and his watchdog group, this city runs the cleanest in this whole county. I guarantee
He was served a federal subpoena this morning.
Did receive a subpoena this morning, and we're going to cooperate 100% with the subpoena. And
Most of you who were involved up here, you gaslighted me. You tried to say I was crazy. And now we know that that's not true. And there's a lot of other issues I've been asking about as well.
Well, tonight, you're going to learn a lot tonight. You're going to learn a lot about the race for Panama City Beach City Council. There are 5 council members. 2 of them, their 4-year terms have expired, and so they're running again. The election is in April, all right, and you have to be a resident of Panama City Beach in order to vote. It's Ward 1 and Ward 3. Those are the wards that are running. But if you live anywhere inside the city of Panama City Beach, you get to vote for both of them, right? You don't have to live in that ward to vote. So if you live in the city of Panama City Beach, I hope you're going to vote in the April election. And there's a real good chance that probably the biggest fraud, there might be a 2-way tie, Fraud 1 and Fraud 1A on the council could get defeated. Too many people know about Geoff McConnell, he ran as a businessman 4 years ago, and he was only a regional manager. And then soon afterward, he wasn't. And he started a couple of government contracting businesses with a county commissioner, Doug Moore, as his attorney. And now those have dissolved. I mean, I'm a better businessman than Geoff McConnell. If Geoff McConnell is a businessman, I'm a Mau Mau fighter pilot. Anyway, he's a total fraud, this guy. He ran as a family man. I'm not going to touch that one. He ran as a businessman, and he ran as a military man. Only 2.5 of those are true. And now he's running again, and he's not saying anything, but he's picking up a lot of money. Somebody said, well, he's raising a lot of money. He hasn't raised any money. None, zero. Money is being stacked in there by people who are implicated in the federal indictments. Money is being stacked in there by people that Geoff McConnell has put on advisory boards. Neil Bennett. Money's being stacked in there for Geoff McConnell because he's a loyal vote for the bad guys, right? That Geoff McConnell, when he ran the first time, he never ran and said he was going to put assessments on you. He never ran and said he was going to, discharge stormwater into the Gulf. None of that. But of course, that's what he does. So there's a real good chance that he can be voted out. And the person who's running against him is Mary Coburn. And today, the News Herald did an article on her, and I'm going to share that with you. But I'm also going to show you. In fact, I'll start with who the other candidate is. All right. Then I'm going to show you who is donating. You'll see it into McConnell's campaign and how much. And then I'll show you who they are. All right. You ready for this? Let's start with who the other candidate is. I'll tell you what I know about her. She grew up in Panama City Beach. She graduated from Bay High School in 1970. Her family owned a hotel on Front Beach Road near Low Water Lake. and she has moved around the country, lived most of her life in California, Southern California. She moved back to her hometown, and she's very concerned about the overdevelopment on the beach. And she certainly has a lot more experience in dealing with city councils because she retired from a nonprofit that was involved in downtown development. So she's very qualified, actually. I've talked to her, and she sounds really fantastic. And it's a really good chance to, clean up a little bit. So let me show you who she is, and we'll look at the News Herald article first. All right, here we go. This is from today's News Herald. It's not very long. Why don't we read this together? Mary Coburn running against incumbent Geoff McConnell for Panama City Beach City Council seat. Written by Nathan Cobb, who's a total hack. I'm just telling you. After years of moaning and groaning about the way Panama City Beach was being run, Mary Coburn, 70, says she believes now is the time for her to put up or shut up. It's because of this and her more than 30 years experience working in downtown revitalization that she's running to unseat Ward 3 Councilman Geoff McConnell in this year's municipal elections, which will take place in April. She says, I'm just a little frustrated with the way development is going and the way the city's being run. She lives in Palmetto Trace. There she is. She says, I've always been interested in serving on a city council. If I can't help my community, then I need to move on, she says. She noted that she and her family moved to Panama City from Georgia when she was about 10. Her parents ran a motel and ice cream shop on the beach. Shortly after graduating from Bay High School, she met her late husband, Walter, and the two moved around the country before settling in California. They were married 43 years before Walter died in 2019. It was while living in Hayward, California, where they ran a transmission shop, that Coburn's journey into downtown revitalization began. Frustrated with the parking in the area, she joined the city's parking committee. She said, we did a parking study and presented our findings to the city council, which enacted the changes that we requested. She also worked for other professional downtown revitalization groups, including California Downtown Association and the Downtown Long Beach Alliance. She says for many years, there was no course study downtown revitalization. Now you can find it at many colleges, but back then we were all learning it together and developing it together. She and Walter then moved back to Panama City Beach in 2015 after she retired. As someone who spent the majority of her adult life in California, which is also known for its beaches, Coburn said that she believes there is no place more beautiful than Panama City Beach, her hometown. As of Friday, Coburn was McConnell's only competition for city council, according to the information on the Bay County Supervisor of Elections website. She says, I'm disappointed to see how our lovely beaches were really kind of devastated by all this large development. I'm hopeful I can bring some balance to the board and to be able to share my experiences from my years of working in other communities. She says, I'm offering voters an alternative, and I'd really like the opportunity to make the residents number one again. As a resident, I feel like a second-class citizen, and that's wrong. All right, that's the article in today's News Herald. Now, before, at least once, maybe twice during this show, I'm going to show you exactly how you can donate to her. But first, I want you to donate to her campaign. Because people like Mary Coburn, ordinary people, we have to raise money. We have to ask people for $25, $50, $100. The maximum donation is $1,000, right? So people, ordinary people, when we run for office, we get small donations, and we have to, it's not easy asking people for money for a damn political campaign. So she's got that stacked against her, and you've got to mail out flyers to the voters, maybe do a commercial. There's a lot of things you got to do when you run for office, paying for all of the stuff, mailing all of the stuff, signs. So I'm going to show you how you can donate to Mary Coburn if you feel inclined. She's certainly going to need it to beat the incumbent who has a bunch of dirty money. You want to see it? I'll show it to you. So now let's go to the Supervisor of Elections website and see who's donating to Geoff McConnell. He doesn't have to ask because he's already proven to them that he's a loyal vote to discharge stormwater into the Gulf, to raise your assessments, to bully people. You got all that. And I'm going to show you where his donations are coming from right after this. It's a hot time in Florida, and my friend Ryan could make sure your air conditioning is running at peak efficiency. He could even install a new one, built to a higher standard, American standard. Find out more at pcairrepair.com. Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. So if you want to be part of yanking the fraud, Geoff McConnell, off of the council, the first step is to help her out, and this is who you can write a check to. She has to accept checks. That's how you would donate, is by writing a check. I'll give you the address and any other information you would need to mail her. But the election's coming up very, very quickly. So if you're inclined, I hope that you will donate to her campaign. It's Mary Coburn, and it has to be written exactly like this: Mary Coburn for PCB, City Council, Ward 3. That's who you would write the check to. And if you don't catch it right now, you can screenshot it, watch it later, pause it, and get it. Here's the address you would mail the check to. All right, Mary Coburn, 224 Oxford Avenue, PCB, 32413. That's the address if you'd like to help out. Maximum donation is $1,000. Any amount helps. And it's wonderful when people look at who's donating and you see a whole bunch of $10, $25, $50, $100. That shows that that's the people's candidate. It really helps. And you have to do this as well, all right? This is important because it's part of the requirement by law. Just include a little note that tells your profession, if you're retired, if you're a doctor, if you're a construction worker, whatever it is. Make sure you have your address and put your phone number on the note. She has to include these things when she reports her donations, okay? Profession, address, and phone number. That's it. That's who you write the check to. Mary Coburn for PCB, City Council, Ward 3. That's where you send it, 224 Oxford Avenue, PCB, 32413. And a note with your profession, your address, and your phone number. All right, let's take a look at who's piling dough into Geoff McConnell's campaign. All right, here we go. We're going to the Supervisor of Elections website. It is, if you want to look for yourself, just go to bayvotes.org. Bayvotes.org. All right. This is it. So these are the people donating. Let's get to it. All right, right here. What I want you to notice more than anything is all the way to the right. Look at the amounts. Okay. They're all $1,000, $500, $1,000, right? And the way it works is the bad guys just bundle it. Someone makes a call, people bring them checks, and they're donated this, or the cash is just handed out, and then people write checks. This is how they do things. So $1,000, $1,000, $500. Now these are interesting names. I want you to look closely at number 5, especially. Chris Forehand, $1,000 donation. And it goes on, 1,000. So $11,500 they've stuffed in there so far. When he ran in 2018, they stuffed at least $47,500. God knows how much other money was used. But I don't even want to get into that. I could get into that so much, but let me stay focused. But let's look at number 5, Chris Forehand. And the other ones, by the way, I recognize a lot of these. These are going to be, I believe, and if I'm wrong, he can call me and tell me I'm wrong and I'll correct it. I believe a lot of these are going to be helped out by Neil Bennett, who Geoff McConnell appointed to an advisory board. Okay. But Chris Forehand Chris Forehand. Chris Forehand is implicated in the indictments in the Lynn Haven corruption case. He's the city engineer. When it says city engineer, and I'll show you, in the superseding indictment, that's Chris Forehand. He owns Panhandle Engineering, which I believe is Company C or Company D. Okay, I'm not positive, but I think that it's one of those. But I know for sure the city engineer, it's all over the superseding indictment. City engineer, city engineer. But that doesn't bother the city of Panama City Beach when they're looking to hire a consultant to do these big development projects. Want to see? Okay, I'll show you. But remember, Chris Forehand. All right, so let's go now to, let's go to a city council meeting just about 6 weeks ago. When the council was, there were two companies and they were competing, I believe they still are, for a giant contract. And I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, damn, you would think that a city council would say, maybe we should look at engineering firms that are not peppered all over a federal indictment, right? That's the trial's still coming up. Sources tell me Chris Forehand's been talking with the FBI. People know this. And you guys are talking about giving Panhandle Engineering a giant contract. Is it not reasonable to say maybe we should give contracts not to the project manager's boyfriend, Kelly Jenkins' boyfriend, Mr. Charmer Cliff Nauer of Dewberry? They're doing that. Maybe we shouldn't give contracts to companies and individuals who are peppered all over a federal indictment whose trial is coming up very soon in Lynn Haven. But that doesn't bother these guys none, you know. Geoff will take money from them and then watch them present their case, ask them questions to make sure everybody thinks he's, you know, being thorough. Geoff, you want to see? I'll show you. So let's take a look at 6 weeks. Is this incredible or is this incredible? Is anybody else telling you this, by the way? News? So McConnell gets his war chest stuffed, and that'll be paying for the cards that you get in the mail and the commercials and everything. That's what's paying for that stuff. Mary Coburn needs help. All right, let's take a look. Now let's go to a city council meeting 6 weeks ago or so. This was the end of a presentation. This is on the screen now. We're at the city council meeting. And their Panhandle Engineering is finishing up. Chris Forehand is the big good-looking guy, the big, bald, good-looking guy. That's Chris Forehand, okay, who donated $1,000. His wife donated $1,000. They own Panhandle Engineering, as I just explained. But let's take a look at Geoff's big donor who's going for a big contract.
In the interest of fairness, I'll ask the same three questions. Since you were around the last time that the CRA management consultant was operating, what historical challenges did you see that were faced by the city at that time, and what were lessons learned that you'd bring forward?
Since Chris was firsthand, I'll let him speak.
Yes,
to that.
the main challenge that we had back then when we worked on the CRA was obviously right-of-way acquisition can be a little bit of a challenge. But
by the way, all right, so that's Panhandle Engineering. By the way, the guy behind him, leaning back, that's Rick Ramos. He's on a board because former councilman Hector Chase Solis appointed Rick Ramos to a board. Rick Ramos dreams of being on the council. Rick Ramos is Hector Solis's best friend. I mean, best friend. How do I know this? I know this because Hector Solis told me that under oath. When he sued me for defamation before he dismissed the case, I deposed Hector Solis. The entire thing is on YouTube. I did it. I didn't have a lawyer. I was Bernie the attorney. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but I had him under oath. And he said, yeah, Rick Ramos is my very best friend. So, I mean, just this is who we have in the shot here. All right, back to Chris Forehand asking the council for a big giant contract. And that's the guy who just donated to McConnell's campaign.
But it's the buried utilities that are not where you think they are. It's always the challenge. It's also the third-party utilities is getting them to design their infrastructure and actually get their infrastructure out of the way. Once you got that solved, it was pretty easy to move forward with construction. So those are the two of the biggest challenges.
Okay. So, we're very aggressive with our schedule, and funds are tight as usual.
Yes.
Maintaining quality in that section. Panama City does not have a downtown. The boulevard of, the CRA is essentially going to be our downtown. And we want to make sure, obviously, that we get this done in time for us to be able to drive on that and not our grandkids. So we want to meet some good schedule and keep our costs in line while still maintaining high quality for our residents and for the businesses up and down the beach there. So looking forward, putting your forward-looking lens on, what do you see as problems and challenges moving forward with the segments that we're doing now?
Well, I think with any of these projects, it's all about holding all of the people working on the project accountable. Whether it's the surveyor or the engineer or the contractor or the person doing the CEI.
Okay, that's enough. We've made our point. We've made our point on that. That is who is donating to McConnell's campaign. The very people he appoints to boards, the very people that want contracts awarded. Let me see what you guys are saying. Yes, okay. Chris, yes, anybody can donate. Anybody who cares about Panama City Beach can donate. Absolutely. And usually these establishment types, they get donations from all over. Yes, the answer is absolutely you can. And before I sign off, I'll give you that information again. All right, so are you following what's happening here? What else did I want to show? Oh, so who is Chris Forehand in these indictments? Why is this a big deal? Well, to me, it's first of all, it is legal. It's legal. They can take donations from people that they later award contracts to. They do it all the time. But is the appearance of impropriety. Do you trust Vice Mayor McConnell? Do you think there's any quid pro quo here? And why would the city be even considering a firm, Panhandle Engineering, that is peppered all over an indictment? Let's take a look at the indictment. This is the superseding indictment that has to do with former Mayor Marco Anderson and developer James Finch. All right, let's take a look at that. Well, before we do, this would be a good time for me to thank those of you who support me and allow me to be able to share this information.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. All right, so here is what's called the superseding indictment, and this is where the charges are laid out, okay? Now, when I show you this here, they don't name Chris Forehand, but Chris Forehand is the city engineer, all right? This is common knowledge. So this is part of the indictment. Now, Chris Forehand has not been charged, all right? So let me make that clear. He is just implicated in the indictment. He has not been charged with a crime. But here's what they say. This is from the U.S. Attorney's Office after the FBI made the arrests. Following Hurricane Michael, Lynn Haven received a request from World Claim Public Adjusters to work with Lynn Haven to assist in documentation and adjustment of its claim with insurance companies with respect to losses that Lynn Haven occurred on October 10, 2018, associated with Hurricane Michael. The city engineer, Chris Forehand, strongly recommended to the city manager, Michael White, that Lynn Haven select WorldClaim. Chris Forehand advised Michael White that an individual, we don't know, who was to receive a percentage of whatever business the individual brought to WorldClaim, and that the individual would split with the city engineer, Chris Forehand, whatever business was obtained from the city. Wow. The city engineer, Chris Forehand, whose company he and his wife donated to McConnell, told the city manager, Michael White, that if Lynn Haven selected WorldClaim, the city engineer would give to Michael White some of the money. That's called a kickback to the city engineer was receiving from the individual. And it goes on. It goes on and on. But I wanted you to see, what I'm talking about. If I say it, I show it. Now, it's important, again, to know that that is a federal indictment. Those are the charges. Now, the people, usually, here's how it works. You don't want your name or your title on an indictment because usually you're next, right? You certainly are being talked to like crazy, and you better be singing. But my point is whether or not Panhandle Engineering has been charged, and they haven't, Chris Warren hasn't, they're all over it. And if I were on a council, wouldn't you? I would say, now's not the time. Look, man, let's wait till this is over, right? Let's wait till it's over. We don't need to be doing business with companies who are all wrapped up in that and with individuals who are all wrapped up in that. But that doesn't concern Geoff McConnell. He continues to get all kinds of money. Look, again, I'll show you thousands of dollars donated. This is at bayvotes.org. Okay, so this is how you do it. You go to bayvotes.org and you click on candidates and committees. You look at current candidates and finances. You go down to Geoff McConnell. Then you click on, let's look at the latest one. There it is. Look at the donations, $1,000. He doesn't ask for these. These are put in there. And there's our guy all over the superseding indictment. $1,000, he and his wife on Panhandle Engineering. And McConnell is set to vote on who's going to get the big contract. All right. Is it legal? Yes. Has Chris Forehand been charged? No. But it sure doesn't look good, especially for a fraud like Geoff McConnell. Am I right or wrong? All right. So here's how, if you are so inclined, you can donate to the lady running against him. There's an article about her in today's News Herald. You can write a check to Mary Coburn. It has to say this, Mary Coburn for PCB City Council Ward 3. That's what it would say when you write the check. And again, I'm going to go through this so that you can pause it later and do it. Here's the address, 224 Oxford Avenue, Panama City Beach, 32413. And you need to include a note with your profession, address, and phone number, because she has to include those things when she reports her donations. Okay? All right. I wanted to share this with you. I wanted you to see this. You are welcome. Those of you saying thank you. And that's just about all I have for you. If you want to support my work, I tell you this is how you do it. You can do it by becoming a patron right here at patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. It's like a tip for as little as $5 per month. Patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. It's easy. It's anonymous. Nobody will know. And you can quit at any time. I do this through crowdfunding like this. Also with sponsors. Keep me going just enough to keep going. So thank you to the Unknown Patriot and to those of you who sponsor the show and support the show. All right, I'm going to jump out of here. I will see you soon. I hope that you will share this. I hope you will tell everybody to vote no Let's clean up this Panama City Beach City Council, put somebody in there who grew up around here and who understands that maybe rampant developing and discharging stormwater into the Gulf is not good for us. It's not even good for him, but he's too dumb to know that. I'll see you soon.